My people, are you ready for one of the most weirdest, complicated things we do in the whole world? Well, I'm glad you tuned in then. So maybe you were checking out class today and it didn't make sense. So maybe you're here for the second version of this. Maybe you missed class today. Bad day to miss. Anyway, completing the square. So let's think about this. We're solving quadratic equations. We've learned solving by factoring, all right, using the zero product property. We've learned about solving by square roots. Okay. Now, some of those methods, both of those, will only work sometimes. This dude right here works every time. Okay? Every time. So this is kind of a good one to know. All right? Anyway, let's do it. Let's not talk about it. All right. So the first step really to solving by completing the square, right, is we are going to create a perfect square trinomial. That's why we call this completing the square, okay? So if we have this, right, so this is the start of a trinomial, what would we put here to make a perfect square trinomial? Remember, guys, I'll give you an example here. Perfect square trinomials are things that look like this, like 2x plus 5 and 2x plus 5. And if we were to FOIL this, this turns into 4x squared plus 20x plus 25, okay? So we want to come up with what value or what number should go here, okay? Well, it's literally nothing more than dividing this number, the b term, by 2 and squaring it, okay? So if I take this, so take negative 12 divided by 2 and square it. So negative 12 divided by 2, negative 6. Negative 6 squared is 36. So x squared minus 12x plus 36. 36 is what completes the square. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay? If I asked you to factor this, could you factor this? Of course you could, right? This would turn into x minus 6 and x minus 6. Right? It factors into the same expression. Okay? All right. So the first step today is we've got to be able to get 36. Because if we can't make 36, we can't use this method, which we want to be able to because every time we can use this method. Okay? Okay. Same thing here. Find the value of c that makes this one a perfect square. So b divided by 2 squared, that's your best friend. B divided by 2 squared makes my perfect square. So in this case, b divided by 2 is 7. 7 squared is 49. Okay? There's your perfect square. Wasn't so bad, was it? All right. Shabam, there we go. All right, so, all right, complete the square. So the first step to really solve this is to get a and b together, right? So ax squared plus bx. I want those two terms together. I want everybody else away. Everybody else being this dude right here. So step one, when we want to solve these, let's get that stuff out of here. So move 5 over here. So subtract 5, okay? So x squared plus 6x equals, I'll say 7, okay? Bam, this is what we want, okay? This is how this works. Now, create a perfect square trinomial. Do just what we were doing, okay? So, b divided by 2, square it. 3 squared, 9, okay? We are going, watch this. You ready for this? Bam, I just created my perfect square trinomial here. Now, I have to be fair. Remember, guys, this is an equation. So in order to keep the balance of powers happy, if I do something to one side, we got to do the same thing to the other side, right? And that was kind of like when we did systems. We'd multiply everybody by a number. Same thing here. If I'm adding 9 here, I got to add 9 over here, okay? All right. Once we get this far, guys, I want to factor this, right? We created a perfect square trinomial because this will factor very nicely. If you don't believe me, pause the video and do it. Welcome back. When I factor this, guys, it turns into this. Now, I know what you're saying. How does this help me? This doesn't equal 0. You're right, it doesn't equal 0. But what's a better way for me to write this expression, right? This is really just the quantity x plus 3. Here, let's just get rid of all of it. This is the quantity x plus 3 squared. Aha! Completing the square. Now look what I have here. Can I solve this with square roots? You better believe I can, and that's why we did this, okay? So we'll get here. We will take the square root of x plus 3 squared, and we take the square root of 16. Okay? Bam. Good to go. These cancel out. I get x plus 3. This equals plus or minus 4. Okay? Almost done. Look, this is taking so much, I've got to write up here. Plus or minus 4. Okay. There's your two answers, guys. So my first answer is x is equal to 4. Again, we're going to move this over here. Minus 3. My second one is equal to negative 4 minus 3. 1, negative 7. There's your two answers. Okay? Again, put them in brackets, do whatever, circle them, make sure they're easily identifiable. Completing the square, there it is. Do this 987 more times and you'll be a pro at it, just like me. Okay? Again, first step, get A and B together. So leave these here, subtract 10. So x squared minus 8x. We're gonna make a perfect square here equals. I'm gonna say that should be 20. Okay. Again, I'm gonna put the same thing on both sides. So make your perfect square trinomial here. B divided by 2 squared. So negative 8 divided by 2. Negative 4. Negative 4 squared. 16. Plus 16 here. Plus 16 here. That turns into that. Factor this. Go. I'll factor it. You factor it. It's a race. See who wins. I'm already done. Hopefully, hopefully you won. Okay? That's what it looks like here. Solve with square roots. So again, I'm going to take the square root of x minus 4 squared. I'm going to take the square root of 36. That's plus or minus 6. This just turns into x minus 4. Probably don't even need to write the parentheses in there with it. Okay? There you go. Make case 1 and case 2. So x is going to be equal to 6. And again, think about moving this over here. That'd be 6 plus 4, which would be 10. My second case is negative 6, plus 4, which is negative 2. There's your two answers. Okay? Again, guys, we're very sequential in our steps. We do this, we do this, we do this. Okay? Again, you'll notice not a lot of slides today, guys, and that's because this takes a little bit longer. Okay? All right, so let's take a look here at this. Why is this one different than the last couple? I see a couple reasons, right? Reason number 1, I got a number here. Reason number 2, I see a negative sign here. Okay? Well, real easy for what we need to do. Okay? The very first step that I would like to do. Whoa, why did I write negative 24? Okay? The very first thing I want to do here is I would like to get rid of this coefficient, negative 2, altogether. So I would like to divide everyone by negative 2. Like literally everybody gets divided by negative 2. Doesn't matter what side of the equation you are on. Once again, folks, properties of equality, right? If we're going to do something to 36x, I have to be fair. We've got to do the same thing to all the other terms, okay? So step 1, we need to rewrite this whole thing. So again, watch, be careful. When we divide by this negative, our signs are going to change in all three of these. You've got to be careful, otherwise it's going to mess something up down the road. So this should turn into x squared minus 18x plus 5 equals negative 12. Okay? Now, let's go ahead. Now, does this look like where we were? It sure does. Okay? So now the same thing's going to hold true. If you want to solve this one on your own, you go do that. In the meantime, we're going to move this over here. So we're going to subtract 5 from both sides. That'll turn this into negative 17. Right? Now we are going to create our perfect square trinomial. Figure out what number this is. If you guessed 81, you are the winner. Okay? There we go. Remember, properties of equality. We're adding 81 here. Got to do it over there. Factor this. This will factor into the quantity x minus 9 squared. If you haven't figured out, guys, all we ever do is divide this by 2. Whatever number that is, it goes here. Okay? This, I believe, my internal calculator is right, is 64. If it's not, somebody send me an email, yell at me. Okay? Solve with square roots. Square root here, square root here. X minus 9 equals plus or minus 8. And now we're home free, right? Find your 2 answers. So my first answer, right, we're going to be 8 plus 9. Here we go, curly brackets. 8 plus 9 is 17. My second answer is going to be negative 8 plus 9. 1. Okay. There we go. Okay. All right. I'm assuming we're going to have a horrible word problem here. There we go. All right. So here's our word problem here. I'll let you read through that. Again, guys, if you don't know where to plug in this number, 5 miles an hour. Okay, 5. What is its variable, or what is its unit of measure? Well, miles per hour. I'm assuming R or X, and the problem will tell me miles per hour or something. R is the rate in miles per hour. Okay, so that means I must be replacing this R with a 5. Okay? All right. So yes, that is what we're going to do. Okay, don't have a lot of room here. Thanks for giving me no room. I feel like I should. Here, I'm going to write this. You watch what we do here. All right, so I'm going to say 5 is equal to, and then we have all this. This is 0.01x squared plus 0.8x. Okay? Great. There we go. Whole bunch of room now. All right? Solve this. Well, for starters, I think a lot of us are used to seeing our equal sign with our number over there. So we can absolutely do that. Remember, this isn't an inequality, so we're okay to do that. Just like before, I would like to divide by this coefficient here. So everybody is going to get divided by this number, negative 0.01. These are going to turn into some pretty large numbers here. I don't know what they're going to be off the top of my head, but this is going to be x squared. It's going to be either 80 or 800. I think 80. But anyway, 0.8 divided by 0.01 is 80. Yeah. Sorry, this is going to be, again, watch your signs here. Minus 80x equals, I'm assuming this is going to be 500. Yep. Again, negative 500 because it is a positive being divided by a negative. Okay. Does this look familiar? It does. Let me make a little bit more room here. Equals negative 500. Okay, so what number should go here? Again, make your perfect square trinomial. Divide by 2 and square. 40 squared should be what? 1600. 1600. Okay, big numbers here. Okay, again, factor this, guys. It will always factor into whatever this is. It'll always keep this sign here, and it'll always be half of that number, right? X minus 40 squared equals, 1100. Okay? Just because we have bigger numbers, the process is still the same. Take the square root of both sides. X minus 40 equals, what are we going to do here, folks? Because this is not a perfect square, right? And this is, now we enter into the world of non-perfect squares, right? So guys, this number, that right there, 33.16624, blah, 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 blah. Plus or minus this number. Okay? All right, so if I'm going to write my 2 answers, guys, we should probably do some decimal approximations here. So x equals right? The square root of 1100 plus 40, and x equals, right, the opposite of the square root of 1100 plus 40. So let's figure out what that is. So we're going to add 40 here. I'm just going to say it's about 73.2. Okay. And then we're going to go back and type in 1100 and add 40 again. I'm thinking we're going to get a smaller number. Yeah, this is about 6.8. Okay. Again, if you were reading through the problem, it wanted to know like how far away from the shoreline we should be. Well, we should either be about 6.8, we could call it maybe 7 feet away from the shoreline, or, right, from this shoreline, we're 73 feet away, right, which means the river is probably 80 feet wide because that would be 7 feet away from the other shoreline, okay? So anyway, so guys, there you go. Completing the square always works. Yes. We have another method that always works too. We will get into that, I believe, very soon. See you guys.